Self-care practices. To care for yourself is to engage in ritual, to practice devotion. Devotion to your being and to life itself. Spirit wants to give you suggestions on rituals to bring into your life in the form of self-care practices. Let's begin by first setting an intention while you have the opportunity to meditate on the cards. Welcome. Crafting the sacred space. I'm connecting into my sacred self and the wisdom of my sacred self through all existing lifetimes, both the past, the present, and the future, coming together in this now moment. Connecting into my spirit guides, my ancestors, my beloved dead, and my own subconscious terrain. Calling forth the spirit guides of this community. Connecting deeper into the essence of Goddess Hel, asking for her assistance in protecting the space as well as my own being, as well as to act as a messenger between the spirit guides of this community and myself. Calling forth the spirit animals of snake, dragon, and dove. Activating and enhancing my psychic abilities and my mediumship abilities to an extent that is appropriate for my being, my vessel at this time, in order to give accurate messages to this community. I set the intention to give clarity, truth, and wisdom through these messages, and that I channel these messages in a clear, concise, loving, and impactful way, and in the true mark of the manifestor energy type, in order to initiate the consciousness and the emotional terrain of this community. I pray that these messages are for the highest good of all beings and the earth in its entirety. Let it be so. Thank you very much. Let's begin the readings. Message number 1. Welcome to your reading. Today we will take a look at self-care practices to bring into your life as ritual, and we will take a look at the emotional, mental, and spiritual ones. And the bottom cards of these decks will show us the physical practice, since the physical is the manifestation of the other energies into the body. So we will begin with the emotional. And we will first take a look at what is out of balance in the emotional realm in order to give you tips on what sort of practice to implement. So what is the misalignment in the emotional area? Five of Wands. So this is very much an internal thing, an internal disturbance. And it feels like a sort of residue from past experiences here. but it is an internal battle where you are really not allowing yourself peace, even though you can have it. So that is why I get this sensation that this is coming from, this is the residue from past experiences that you haven't quite gotten over just yet. There's a lingering in that emotional battlefield, perhaps in relationships, perhaps a specific relationship that caught you off guard or was quite difficult. So the practice here is to create some sort of emotional release, a letting go, and perhaps even some cord cutting. Just make sure that you know what you're doing when doing a cord cutting. And this could also mean, I do feel repeated shadow work, working with cards on your own, repeatedly in a pattern or a system. So for example, let's say every Friday, the last Friday of the month, or every month on the dark moon. Don't engage in it too often. But I feel like there is perhaps even a specific situation that you can work with untangling. And I'm receiving friendships as well, or a parent relationship, family relationship, or something with job situation and how that made you feel. Perhaps you were being let off or something, or your career hasn't been satisfactory to you, and there's some emotional residue here that you can start to dig in, but do it repeatedly with some time between sessions. So once in a month, and keep going back to the same subject, and you will discover that you dig deeper and deeper into it, and also release more and more on that emotional residue as you go. So that is that for the emotional practice. Now we will take a look at the mental self-care practice. So what is out of balance in the mental area for this group of people? And it flew out. For some of you, most of this has to do with career or job in some way. I'm not saying that this is for all of you or even most of you, but for some of you, all of this unbalance is in this area. We have the Two of Wands. This is how you see yourself, which is not how I usually interpret the Two of Wands. But we have this mirror here, which shows a completely different reflection than the one being in front of the mirror. But, my God, please focus. There you go. But what this is telling me is that you have a bit of a skewed perception of self because of things that have been going on, has happened. And it's to your detriment, in a sense, because it is stopping you in your tracks in moving forward and saying yes to new opportunity. This is why we have the Two of Wands here. So you are holding yourself back because there is some skewed what did I say? Image of self that gives you a bit of a low self-esteem or low confidence. So let's say this is the same situation that we are still speaking about, and if it pertains to relationships, perhaps you have had such a bad experience that you have a different view on yourself because of that other person that isn't to your benefit, and so it makes you insecure in meeting new people because you got scarred in that situation. Or if it's a job, perhaps it scarred your self-confidence, your belief in yourself and in your skills. So the way to work around this, one very, very powerful way is to practice affirmations. And this is something that I myself really have to practice more and bring into my life more. So I'm not an expert in this area. But there's something with reprogramming that internal dialogue of yours that is quite effective. It will be more effective than trying to just get out there, because you're still operating from that skewed mindset and view of yourself. And so that will be probably confirmed by the interactions you have. Not because, let's just put it that way, your mind tends to look for things to confirm your beliefs. So if you start to program yourself to believe more of yourself, your mind will start to look after for proof of that instead. And so it is the most beneficial to write and to create your own affirmations and put them on your mirror. So you see them every day, preferably one, max two, so that you can really stay consistent and do that for 3 months perhaps. Daily, a daily habit, preferably 3 times a day is what I'm hearing. And that is that for that area. So I'm very interested to see what we have in the spiritual area. Where is the unbalance? In the spiritual area for this group of people. Six of Knives. I do get a very strong feeling of running away as a main theme. Having a difficulty sticking to, devoting yourself to your practices. There's something about hurrying, moving too quickly, sort of wanting to be done with it. There's an energy of escaping. It's like jumping on the boat in the Six of Swords prematurely when you have things to finish and to put a closure on before you're leaving, and that creates some energetic residues, like you have these things in your mind that you haven't yet completed. And I'm not sure if it's physical things that you have not completed or more so energetic things like relationships and such. Let's see if I can feel into this. It's a general energy of not putting a cap on it in order to be able to completely move on and being done with it. I'm tapping in here to a feeling of really not wanting to end things, really not wanting to say goodbye. It feels very, very difficult. It feels very, very sad. I feel grief, even in the small things. Perhaps you have a sentimental streak to you. Perhaps you have an important cancer placement. I can relate to that. But there is a sadness that you are trying not to feel. And what is the remedy of that? Create a ritual around that. Create a ritual around endings. And in that ritual, you will have an opportunity to honor the experiences that you've had and the loss that you are feeling, but putting a closure to it. And there's something here with honoring it and appreciating it, giving into the appreciation of what you had that will really benefit you and that will help you in finding closure. And the ritual doesn't have to be really extensive. Let's say you are trying to finish off a simple thing. You can practice on small things. Perhaps you are finishing a book, reading a book or something, and you can just sit for yourself for a moment and say some words like, "This was such a beautiful and profound experience for me. Thank you so much to this writer who gave this experience to me." This is just an example. But it will help you in creating this perhaps more sacred rituals around endings that surrounds more big big themes in life, such as relationships, perhaps even people or pets passing away, changing of jobs, relationships ending. I did say that. Moving to another home and things like that. So that is all for that message, and let's see here what we have for the physical. We have the Ace of Wands, the Nine of Wands, and the Queen of Skulls. From this, I am really getting movement, because we have 2 out of 3 cards are Wands, and the last one is Pentacles. So this gives movement, and not rigid movement where you adhere to a very strict exercise schedule that your body can't handle, because we have the Nine of Wands and the Queen of Skulls in reverse, which indicates it being too much on the body. So doing it in a way where you, yes, can push yourself when your body allows you to push yourself, but also give yourself gentle movements at times when you are perhaps exhausted and it's enough to take a long walk and do some yoga, or perhaps swimming. Move with the body, listen to the body, and really connect through exercise. Daily, but with adjustments in regards to how your body feels. And that is all. Before you click off this video, I will put up a screen here with some key takeaways from this reading. Thank you so very much for connecting in here today, and I do hope to see you next time. Take care, everyone. Bye. Message number 2. Welcome to your reading. Today we will take a look at some self-care practices that you can implement into your life, and we will take a look at emotional self-care practices, mental self-care practices, as well as spiritual self-care practices. And the bottom cards of these decks will show us the physical self-care practices that you can incorporate, because that the physical is a manifestation of all the other 3 energies. So let's begin. And for us to be able to know what sort of self-practices would benefit you, we need to know how you are out of balance in that area of life. So let's take a look at how you are unbalanced in the emotional area of your life. What's the imbalance in the emotional area in the lives of this group of people? Ten of Cups. So this is related to family in some way. I do feel that perhaps for just one of you or something like that, this could be an infertility issue. This could also be some sort of estrangement or conflict with family member or a divorce situation, but it has to do with that area of life. It is stemming from this. And why it's so specific with family, the bonds are different in family. In a way, they are more complicated to deal with. Perhaps these are people that we have to engage in life, but it's complicated. Or there is a complicated situation with in regards to family. You will know your situation here. But it's pulling you out of harmony. And it's a repeating, I feel like it's a repeating issue. So the self-care practice here is to have someone in your life to have regular conversations with. Someone that is not in this family connection. It could perhaps be a person that knows both the two of you. So let's say that you are going through a divorce with your husband and you have a best friend who also knows your husband, and you can speak to that best friend. But it's not speaking to a sibling when it is the sibling that you have issues with. Well, you can do that, but this self-care practice is about speaking to, having conversations with another human being that is not a part of this difficult situation. And this can also mean a therapist, but it's speaking with this person on a regular basis. I do feel like once a week or once every week or something like that. And perhaps even scheduling it. Like every Monday I'm going to call my best friend and we can talk. And we can talk about his or her things as well. But we're going to talk and I'm going to just process my emotions in that space. So it's having conversations with another human being, not with an ancestor that has passed away. You can have that as well. Not with your guides. You can have that as well. But it's important here, very, very important here, that you speak to another human being. So whatever is accessible for you. Perhaps you don't feel like you have a person that you can confide in that way. Then a therapist could be an alternative for you. So what's the mental imbalance? Right now in the lives of this group of people. Six of Pentacles. This feels related to this situation. Like the unbalance is the amount of space that this issue takes up in your head, which is no wonder. These issues are, I understand, difficult to deal with, and it's no surprise that they take up a lot of space in your head. And I think that that is one of the reasons why you are being asked to have conversation regularly, because it is also a way to put words to your thoughts so that you can be relieved of the thought processes in your head once in a while. I do feel something else quite specifically, that if you find it like it is taking over your head quite a lot, I see you doing puzzles quite specifically, or crosswords, something like that, where you are focused and occupied with your mental capacity with something else that puts you in this meditative space that isn't this issue. Something that has a sense of rhythm to it, like this puzzle or crosswords. And it has to be something that requires some sort of mental capacity. So it won't do with knitting, for example, unless you have a quite intricate pattern where you need to follow the pattern quite intensely. But it's something that where you will have to engage your mind quite a lot. And come back to that as often as you would like, 10 minutes every evening, or something like that, or an hour once in a week or something. But they're saying preferably more often during a shorter amount of time. That's more beneficial for your mind. So preferably 10 minutes every day or every other day. There's something especially with the evening where I feel like the possibility of thoughts racing in the mind is especially high. And so you can divert these thoughts through engaging in something else. Now, for the spiritual practice, what is the spiritual imbalance in the lives of this group of people? The star in the reverse and the world. It feels like you are being led into some sort of closure. This can be an ending in the material world, but more than anything, I feel that this probably has to do with your... I'm looking for the right word for this. Your approach to things. Yeah, your approach to things. I'm getting a feeling here, and I'll see if I can put it into concrete words. But there is a detachment that is available further down the road. And a detachment of expectations, how you think things should be. Like there's a discrepancy between how you wish or think or desire things to be and how they really are. And Spirit is trying to move you into acceptance and release of control. Releasing control of having it a certain way. And that's a very, very advanced lesson to learn. Most certainly. I have been through that many, many times. And it requires quite a lot of you, but it benefits you. Because it helps you to come into peace. It helps you to come into harmony, whatever the circumstances are around you. And you are not that detached to outcomes. And that brings you peace. So, what is the practice? The practice here is to use some sort of tool or craft to ask questions about these situations that you are in, that you desire to be something else, and to ask questions. For example, you can use runes or guided meditations with guides, tarot or oracle cards, or seeking up an experienced tarot reader, and asking questions about the situation from an eagle eye perspective, looking at it from the viewpoint of how it relates to the entirety of your life and your lifespan. Let's see if I can put this into more concrete words. What the situation is trying to tell you and to show you, and how you can have a shift in your perspective and experience from that. And for that to happen, you have to ask some questions. For example, what is this situation trying to show me? How can I accept the circumstances that I am in, that I cannot control? What are the circumstances that I can control? And how can I change those from an empowered state of being, for example? And I'm just feeling into if they have some sort of recommended practice around this. It feels more like a spontaneous thing. So whenever you are thoughts are running amok in your head around different situations that are troubling you, perhaps take some time away and some space away and come back to these questions when you are in a more neutral state emotionally. But come back into this self-care practice spontaneously when the need for that arises. Okay, so for the physical, we have the Jinn in reverse, which is the devil, the Empress in reverse, and the Hierophant in reverse. A lot of reversals. I need to feel into this a bit more. This feels like some sort of practice of stillness. Yes, is what I'm hearing. And making this a priority every day, to take breaks and to pause and to be still with the body, resting the body in an intentional way, in a restful position that is healthy and beneficial for the body. So sitting at a desk for hours in a workday doesn't count here. Preferably you are lying down, or you are perhaps in a yin yoga position, something that is very beneficial for your body, for your muscles, for your fascia, something that helps you to relax more. Let's see if there's anything else. There's saying something about giving yourself enough time in bed before you get to sleep is the most crucial part. That's the thing that they really wanted to get at with this. So this will be true for some of you, at least, to have some leeway getting into bed, and when you need to sort of be asleep in order to get your hours in. Give yourself time here, at least 15 minutes, half an hour or something like that. And I'm hearing that is all for today's reading. But before you click off, I will put up a screen here with some key takeaways from this reading, so that you can take a screenshot of it and put it in your journal if you so wish. Thank you so very much for connecting in here today, and I do hope to see you next time. Take care, everyone. Bye. Message number 3. Welcome to your reading. Today we will give you some tips on self-care practices to implement into your life. And we will take a look at some emotional ones, a mental self-care practice, a spiritual self-care practice, and from the bottom cards of these decks we will deduct a physical self-care practice, because the physical is the manifestation of all the other energies within the body. So, to be able to do this, to take a look at what sort of self-care practices would benefit you, we need to take a look at where you are out of balance, or how you are out of balance within these areas. So we will begin with the emotional imbalance. So what is the emotional imbalance in the lives of this group of people? Two of Swords in reverse. This feels like doubting your motives. And I'm wondering why we have this in the emotional, because this sounds very mental to me. So I'm going to connect in and see or feel into what this is. This feels like an imbalance between you and the other. And I've been speaking about this subject for some readings now, so I wouldn't be surprised if this is a theme that has been following you through the previous readings that I have published. But there is a feeling of sorrow or disappointment from within, of not putting yourself as a top priority. And so this is why I feel that it is questioning your motives, your choices. Where are they actually coming from? Do they come from you or something that you think is expected of you? But it is sorrow, loss, disappointment from choosing yourself last, or at least quite low on your priority list. Let's see if there's anything else. So the self-care practice here is to make yourself a priority each and every day by scheduling time. Schedule time for yourself. For is a practice where you are with yourself and you are connecting into that inner realm of yours. And it can be done through taking a bath, or doing a spread, or quiet meditation. They're saying that it has to be at least 10 minutes. At least 10 minutes every day. You can do this. You can do this. And so what if the dishes are stashing up for a little while? Make yourself a priority. Put yourself first. Preferably very early on in the day to sort of set the stage. So perhaps you are waking up 10 minutes earlier before your family, if you have family, for example. Right. And make it a daily practice. Schedule time with yourself, connecting to that inner realm of yours daily. And you will see how much better you will feel from that. And if you already are doing this, let's see what there is for you. This could be setting boundaries around distractions. If you have plenty of time and you perhaps do your daily meditations or whatever your practice is, but it could be limiting or setting a boundary around distractions and unnecessarily external noise through scrolling through Instagram or watching a lot of YouTube videos and connecting in more throughout the day. So what is the mental imbalance? And what I found with the other two readings before is that they are all connected somehow, these areas. Of course, it's not it's not rocket science. I think it's to be expected. So what's the imbalance in the mental realm in the lives of this group of people? Yes. See here, 2 of Cups and the Page of Wands. I'm feeling the same theme reoccurring, but I want to tap in deeper and to see if there's anything else I can excavate from this so that I'm not just repeating myself. There's an element of needing to let your passions take up space in your mental realm, in your thoughts, in your mental space, and not just planning, organize things for work, for others, for kids, but letting your passions, letting your curiosity, letting your own sense of adventure and daydreaming take up space in your mind. So the imbalance here is speaking about not letting in enough time or space for your own hobbies, for your own creativity, for your own passion to exist in there and to roam free in here. So, is there anything else you can say around that? Some concrete practice to dig into, to actually develop this habit of thinking more about your own passion projects, your own interests, your own creativity. Let's see if I get anything from this. I do feel setting aside time, like a bigger chunk of time, at least once a week, like an hour, to dedicate to your passion. And there's something about writing something down. And throughout the week, you can write down epiphanies or inspirations, or save to Pinterest things that inspire you around this, or perhaps you are following another thread. And whenever you get hit by a sort of inspiration, document it in some form through text or a mind map or a Pinterest board, pinning down your thoughts and explore them once a week for an hour. Give yourself an hour, set a timer, and just deep dive into your passion. And perhaps you need to schedule something to help you out, perhaps a babysitter once in a while or something like that, or just waking up earlier in the morning on the weekend, something, make it work essentially. But it's about giving that space, because this reading is very much about developing your own world, your own sense of self, without the dependency of others and other relationships in your life. Is there anything else? In here, there could be a need to practice boundaries with some people. And perhaps you have a bit older kids, and just telling them that I will be here doing this thing for an hour, and I would like for you to not disturb me during this hour unless it is really, really important. Or if you have a partner, say to them, this time every Sunday I am working with my passion. And it's important to me. So what is the spiritual imbalance in the lives of this group of people? Strength in reverse. So there is overwhelm. Overwhelm. I do feel like the demands of life is really sort of knocking on your door. And this is also why it is especially important for you to develop this time for yourself and for your own life, so that you can feel that this is a life you live. You're not living someone else's life. And I understand that there is a period of time for some people when that's really, really challenging, if you have really small kids, for example. But make it a priority. See how you can solve the situation for you to carve out time for yourself, so that you don't completely lose yourself or feel the sense of overwhelm. Feeling perhaps a sense of not being able to handle it all, or overburdened. Or I feel just this loss of the self here in the Strength Reverse card. So something that could really benefit you here, some sort of practice, is communication with your guides, is what they're saying. And they can help you lift your perspective in your day-to-day life, from thinking how you think around everyday chores and demands and such, and gain a larger, grander perspective on things. I think also there's something coming through here around what we are teaching our children and those around you, from how we live and how we act ourselves. And so you are also teaching or showing other people the importance of creating space for yourself and cultivate and develop a connection to your own soul, if you will. So communication, and they're saying daily communication. And this can be while you are doing your chores. And perhaps you have not done this before. It's just about starting. And don't question if it's real or not, whatever it is that you are receiving, because it doesn't really matter here. Just develop a connection, develop a language together, trusting in what you are receiving is something that you're supposed to receive and supposed to hear, even if it is in your own internal voice. Oops, sorry. And that voice will develop into the voice of your guides over time if you are not that experienced in this. But trust what you are receiving. And it can be images, it can be texts, it can be sounds, it can be a feeling. Just practice daily for 5 minutes. When you are doing laundry, when you are taking a shower, when you are cooking. So the physical here, the physical self-care. There was something else. Yeah, just before you make contact, if you are inexperienced, make sure that you are setting an intention to only communicate with your spirit guides and to only open up your channel for that communication. Okay, the physical. We have 4 of Pentacles in reverse. 5 of Swords. 4 of Grails. I just feel like you need to be alone more. You really need to have some time alone. And create some space and distance to the energies of other people around you. Perhaps closing the door, being in the bedroom by yourself or something, but be alone at times. Create time and space for yourself being alone. And that is all. But before you click off this reading, I will put up a screen here with the key takeaways from this reading, and you can take a screenshot of it and put it in your journal if you so wish. Thank you so very much for connecting in. I do hope to see you in the next video. Take care, everyone. Bye.